Okay, today I want to share with you how to make your goals a reality by sharing with you 3 different levels of how you can make your goals more effective. Because what I see a lot of people doing is saying they want to lose weight and it kind of stops with that. There's no real specific amount of weight they want to lose or by a specific period of time or particular date. So it just becomes wishful thinking, and I'm sure that's not what you want. So I'm going to be sharing with you 3 different things that you can do, all stacked one on top of the other, to make this a really powerful thing to implement if you choose to implement it. So let's kick off with level 1 in terms of goal setting, and I'm sure you're familiar with probably level 1 and level 2, but let's kick off with level 1, and it's a mnemonic that's used to help set goals. It's called SMART, and each letter stands for, it's an acronym, it stands for something that you need to have in place in order to make your goals more of a reality. So the S is make it specific, the M is make it measurable, the A is achievable, R is realistic, and T is a time bound. And if you did nothing else other than just following that simple acronym when it comes to setting a goal, and did nothing else at all, I would suggest that you are probably doing more than what 80% of people do when it comes to losing weight. Because as I said earlier, a lot of people just set a goal with no specific amount or time frame attached to it, so they become more of a wandering generality as opposed to having a meaningful specific thing they're going for. So that's level 1. Use that SMART mnemonic just to establish what your goal is. Then we go to level 2. We take a look at how we're going to bring this goal to life. What can we use as a reference point? What can we use as a visual to help us feel a bit more motivated about achieving that goal? And there's a few things you can do here. First of all, you might decide to pick out an old photograph of yourself. It could be 5 years old, 10 years old, going back to when you were at the weight that you'd like to be now. And don't worry if it's pre-children either, because I've had clients who have had 2 or 3 children and lost 5 or 6 stone in weight and look better than when before having children, having had children. So don't be put off by the fact it's 5 or 10 years old, or that you may have had children as well, because it is possible to get back into pretty good shape. And if you haven't got that photograph, then maybe you can draw something. If you feel artistic, you can maybe draw the image of how you'd like to look. And I'm a big fan of that, because it kind of connects your mind on a whole different level when you actually physically draw things. And the third thing that you could possibly do is maybe find somebody who's very similar to you in terms of body type, age, someone that you kind of relate to. And this could be a family member, a friend, it could even be possibly a celebrity even, but somebody that you can identify with, that you think, they've kept themselves in pretty good shape, they're very similar to me, I'm going to go for something like that. So that's having this visual component as well. This is level 2 stuff, the visual component. Also attached to this visual component, because that's the outcome goal, we need to attach some process goals to that as well. And again, you may be familiar with this terminology as well. But process goals are basically the things you'll be doing on a daily basis, and they can be ranging from what time do you wake up in the morning, what you're going to have at breakfast, are you going to exercise first thing in the morning, what's going to be for lunch, evening meal, what are you going to be planning and prepping for the next day, what time you're going to go to bed. And these are just things that are based around achieving that weight loss goal. And there could be other things in there as well that all help you bring that outcome goal one day closer. I used to say to my clients, every day that you do a good set of process goals, imagine the process goal is like a big rope attached to the visual image, and every time you have a good day, it's like you've pulled the rope a little bit closer to yourself with that image attached to it. So every day is getting closer and closer and closer. So those are the process goals. So that's level 1 and level 2. So level 1 again is using that SMART acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And then we spoke about level 2, having a visual goal and attaching to that the process goals that you can focus on a daily basis. So that's those 2 things together. Again, if you use just those 2 things, it puts you in quite a small percentage of the population that use that as an approach. I say the SMART mnemonic, that's putting you in probably, I don't know, the top 20%. combining that with the visual and the process goals, you're probably now in the top 10 to 15%, I would suggest, if you put those two things together. And you'll find that everything becomes a little bit easier when you do that. Not easy, but certainly easier. Okay, so what's level number 3? How can we take this even deeper than what we've just been describing? Well, that's by engaging your mind on a much deeper level and understanding what role our mind plays in this. So this is level 3 stuff we're talking about now. So let's start off by splitting the mind into 2 parts: conscious mind, subconscious mind. And let's talk about what their roles are and how we can hopefully integrate these so that we get the best possible outcome. So first of all, your conscious mind, what's it responsible for? Well, think of your conscious mind a little bit like being a gatekeeper. It decides where you're going to take and focus your attention. It also picks up on what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you smell, you taste. It's kind of like the gatekeeper for all information coming in. It acts like a filter before the information passes on to the subconscious mind. And the beauty about the conscious mind is it can decide what it's going to focus on. It's entirely up to you. So here's a classic example for weight loss for a lot of people. They start the day off by waking up late, not going out for the morning walk, not having breakfast prepped, and they end up eating something which they know is not particularly helpful for them, and they feel bad about doing that. So where does their conscious mind take them? Well, it takes them to a place where they start thinking about, oh, I've failed again, I knew I couldn't do this, I'm useless, what's the point? And they get in a right sort of hissy fit over it. And by the time mid-morning comes around and the biscuit trolley comes around at work or wherever you might normally go for a break, you just think, well, what the hell? I've already screwed breakfast, so I might as well screw mid-morning. And then lunchtime comes around and you do exactly the same. And this pattern of behaviour goes throughout the whole of the day, right through to the evening. And sadly for some people, it can actually ruin the whole week, so they don't want to start again until the next Monday. It can happen that way. But here's the beauty of the conscious mind. The conscious mind could have stopped that whole cycle of events straight after the poor breakfast. It could have gone, okay, I've screwed up breakfast, could have been better, but it wasn't. But you know what? The next meal is going to be better. And that's the power we have with our conscious minds. But most people, what they tend to do, and I've been guilty of this as well, so hold my hands up, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But what the conscious mind can do is choose a different set of thoughts to focus on, because there's a saying that I'm sure you're familiar with, where your focus goes, your energy goes. So I've screwed up my breakfast, but you know what? My mid-morning or my lunch are going to be absolutely spot on. I'm going to focus on getting that right. And just by making that slight shift in terms of how you use your conscious mind, can set in motion a whole series of positive steps that can keep you going for the rest of the week, instead of screwing it up on a Monday morning and having to wait a full 7 days before you can start again. And that sounds extreme, but that happens to a lot of people, and sometimes it goes way beyond just a week. It can go on for weeks and months where people get into this rut of negative thinking. So conscious mind, its role is to act as a gatekeeper. It decides what you're going to focus on and what conversations you're prepared to entertain in your head. So understand that. Now, here's something to understand about the conscious mind, and that is, when you attach a feeling to a thought, your subconscious mind accepts it and will produce it for you. So if you have a bad breakfast and you say to yourself, oh, I'm a bloody failure again, and you really emotionalize that, you will internalize it, and that will go into your subconscious mind, and you'll get more of the same stuff coming back out again. It will program you to do more of the same. On the flip side, if you can say something like, oh, well, you know what, bad breakfast, but I'm bigger than that, I can do better next time, I can do better at lunch, and feel good about that, your subconscious mind will accept that as well. Because here's something that not a lot of people actually stop and appreciate, and it's this: a thought by itself has no real impact. It's like having a balloon filled with helium. It just sort of, it goes up into the air. But a thought wrapped in emotion is like a lead balloon. It sinks, and it sinks into the subconscious mind. And when it sinks into the subconscious mind hasn't got the ability to discern whether it's good, bad for you, whether it's healthy, unhealthy, whether it should say yes or no, whether it should weigh and debate. The subconscious mind doesn't do that. The subconscious mind is there to carry out your instructions and give you what you ask for. So if you ask for something in a negative way and you put a lot of negative around it, that's what you're going to get back out. If you ask for something, I want to do better at lunchtime, better in the evening meal, better for the rest of the week, and you're positive about it, that emotion attached to the thought will be accepted into the subconscious mind, and you will then carry out the according behavior to get that result. And this is such an overlooked thing when it comes to achieving weight loss. And it's something that not a lot of people even speak about. In Western society, we tend to be fixated on how many calories you're eating, what sort of calories, what sort of fat is it, what sort of protein is it, what sort of exercises are you doing. And I'm not saying those things are not important. Yes, they are important. But until you get the software working properly and working on your side, it doesn't really matter what diet you follow, it doesn't really matter what exercise you follow, the results are going to be short-lived, if any at all. So we need to understand on this level 3 how the conscious mind and the subconscious mind work together. They're a partnership. And if you find that you are sometimes blocked, you're thinking, I know what I should do, I know what I must do, I just can't seem to do it, the way to bring down that barrier, the way to reconnect your conscious mind with your subconscious mind so it starts working for you, is to take some time out and just attach some real positive emotion to it. Because when you do that, it will take it into the subconscious mind and you'll start to see things happen almost like magic. Now, I'm going to give you one final tip as to how you can use your conscious mind and your subconscious mind together to be able to bring into existence exactly what you want. And this is like meditation, effectively. I'm not going to call it meditation, but you can call it that if you want to. But the way the brain works, there are a number of waves that our brain functions at. So gamma waves are where we are processing lots of information at a high level. Beta waves are there to help us get more focus, more stimulation, more focus on the task we're doing. And then we've got alpha waves, and alpha waves are calming and relaxing, and they normally kick in around about the time either as you're about to go to sleep or where you stop, you put your feet up and you just take some deep breaths and you just let the world go by while you chill out. At that point, during that alpha wave state, if you can start to think about your goals, so you can get the visual image, whether you've done a drawing or a picture, doesn't matter, have that present, maybe have some soft music playing, and start to get a feeling as to how it would be to achieve that goal. Try and generate that feeling around it, And I appreciate not everybody's a visual person, and it may not be easy to feel what it would be like, because maybe you've not been like that for 5, 10, 15 years or more, or maybe you've never been in the sort of shape that you want to be in. So I appreciate sometimes this can be a bit of a challenge, but if you can just get yourself in that relaxed state, that alpha brainwave state, with the picture, with maybe some soft music, and just ask yourself the question, what would it feel like if I achieved that? And to begin with, you might wrestle with it, you might find it really difficult to get any sort of feeling going. And if you're struggling to get your feelings sort of aroused and into this, then maybe just try and think about something you're grateful for right now, because that will start to stir your emotions and get the whole emotional mechanism moving in the direction we need to get it moving in. But this simple exercise, when done regularly, will have a profound effect upon you achieving your goals. So just to briefly summarize then, I've mentioned 3 levels in terms of goal setting. First of all, I spoke about the SMART mnemonic, making your goals specific, measurable, achievable, realistic and time bound. That puts you in a category of a very small percentage of people. I then said level 2, get a visual image, and then think about the process steps you have to take on a daily basis and combine those together. And then the third level is how to engage and get working for you your conscious mind, which is the gatekeeper for all the information that's coming in, working with your subconscious mind, which is the creator of what you want. When you get all those three things stacked up together, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve, irrespective of whether it's the Atkins diet, high protein diet, balanced diet of proteins, fats and carbs, whatever it is. As long as it's a reasonably healthy diet and you're doing some reasonable exercise, you can quite literally transform your body when it's underpinned with that level of, I wouldn't say sophistication, but that level of understanding as to how your mind actually goes about achieving a goal. Hopefully that's been of some use to you. If you have any comments, questions at all about what I've just covered, feel free to reach out to me. Until next time, take very good care, and bye for now.